I'm having a little chitty chat with Kathryn Heyman about her upcoming workshop in the HNSA 2023 Winter Online Program entitled The Art and Carpentry of Fiction. Kathryn, welcome.
Thanks, Greg. Hi.
Hi, how are you? I've always said I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. What can people expect from your carpentry workshop?
Well, we won't be getting any splinters and there will be no sore thumbs. I can't speak about whether there'll be swearing or not in the privacy of your own home. So it's what I always think of with carpentry. Look, the reason I've called this workshop The Art and Carpentry of Fiction is that fiction requires both structure, that kind of real external nuts and bolts. And we often talk about it in that way, the nuts and bolts of fiction. And I think especially with historical novelists, it's really important that we get those nuts and bolts really in place, that we've got the framework, that we understand what we're doing in terms of character, in terms of story, in terms of progression, so we don't get lost in all that beautiful research and all those beautiful facts. So the fiction is both that structure, but it's also the quiet underpinnings, the stuff that we don't know, the instinct, the chaos. And that's what I'm thinking of as the art, if you like. Of course, these things aren't really separate. So that what we'll be doing in that intense few hours is we'll be looking at how to structure your novel to make it work, how to kind of put those nuts and bolts in place to hold up a fabulous piece of fiction, and how to listen to your own instinct and follow your own intuition and grow your own intuition to get that rich, human, luminous underpinning of fiction and of character.
So what would your top strategy be for a writer who's still trying to find their actual voice?
Voice is such an important one. It's often the starting point, isn't it, of making something work in fiction. So one of the number one things there's a couple of things. The first is, and I'm sorry, this is an old chestnut, but it is write. I'm not going to say write every day. I'm not going to give you a rule about that, but show up and try different things. But one of the things that can be really useful is to try and find restrictions. So when you're thinking about, say, your character voice, to think about, okay, what does this character never say? What are the kinds of things I can't use when I'm writing in this character voice? So sometimes it's slightly counterintuitive, but sometimes instead of saying, oh, what can I do? It can be useful to say, okay, what can't I do? Because as soon as you do that, if you think, okay, well, physically, I can't ever slouch in my chair, then immediately, okay, well, I'm upright. So that can be a really useful little trick. In other words, give yourself a rule.
Yeah, it's true that often I think writing is discarding rather than including. Like, it's actually looking at everything you've got and actually peeling off the bits that don't actually work. So
right. Well, I'm actually even suggesting before that before the peeling off, I'm suggesting that in the early writing that actually making a decision about some things that you might use to find the character's voice. So it's even before the editorial bit.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll play with a lot of those things in the workshop too.
So what kind of outcomes do you think people could expect to come away from your workshop with?
Well, based on previous workshops, I was kind of, my little delighted grin there was because I was thinking about a writer who did one of my workshops recently who showed me at the end this exercise book that she was an unusual case, this exercise book that she pretty much filled in the workshop, just. So one thing that I would expect that you'll come away with is a little body of work. You're not going to come away from that morning with a novel, but you'll come away with some scenes, some passages, some moments of character voice that you can then start to weave together to build your story, or that you can start to bring into the novel you're already writing to deepen it and to widen it and to inform it. So that's one thing. You'll come away with a little toolkit, a little folio of writing, even in that time, I swear.
Yeah.
And you'll come away with a new set of questions and approaches about the novel that you're writing, about, or whether you're starting or whether you're knee deep in it. You'll come away with a set of questions that are going to help you know what to do next, know what to do in order to get further on in the novel, know what to do in order to complete the novel, know what to do in order to make the novel sing.
Yeah, so you'll definitely come away with some strategies. So, well, thanks for your time today. But just to finish up, so would you rather be a hammer or a nail in carpentry?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, you've got to say hammer, right?
All right. Well, thank you for your time today. People can book your session by going to all the W's, hnsa.org.au, and to the tab for the winter online program. And there's enough there in the other workshops as well to warm the cockles of your heart this winter. So thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Greg.